Welcome back to Fireside Yankees with your boys, Alex and Ryan. So today, talking about some Rays stuff and Isaac Paredes. And I know we talked about him yesterday a bit. We're going to talk about Brandon Lowe as well. Andy Martino of SNY comes out and kind of drops this piece suggesting the Rays are selling, the Mariners are interested. There's other teams that are looking to pillage the Rays. And look, here's the thing about the Rays. Whoever you're giving up, you got to be concerned that they're going to become good. And I think that's kind of what most people are saying right now is like, the Rays may end up taking good players from us, but that's okay if we're getting someone who can make a positive impact in a championship aspirations year for this Yankee team. And we have a lot of needs, right? Bullpen's one, infield, we need third base, second base. We could use a starting pitcher. I don't think that's the highest thing on my wish list, but it certainly is there. I know a lot of people are sending out like mock trades and stuff. I wrote about one this afternoon regarding, I think Zach Scott of SNY also, was on the New York Post podcast and suggested, how about Jazz Chisholm and Tanner Scott for Spencer Jones, Willamorne, and Yorbit Vivas. Like, miss me with that.
That trade sucked.
It sucks.
He's a former GM, so I give him respect, but like, God,
even
dude.
so, that's some BS. I mean, you want to know why that deal actually sucks?
Why?
You want to know why because Tanner Scott's a free agent next year.
Right.
You're telling me I got to give up Spencer Jones, arguably our top outfield prospect, arguably our top infield prospect, and arguably our top pitcher prospect for a half-year rental of a bullpen arm, and Jazz Chisholm, who is good and has 2 years of control, but by no means is he an elite level player. Like, he is a good player.
Right. He's
great.
not like a superstar. He's a fun, like a solid player.
An aura
he's not
guy.
like a
He's
super
an aura guy.
He's good. No one. I don't think anyone's like, oh, is Jazz Chisholm good at baseball or not? Unless like you're dumb. I mean, I think you're dumb if you think he's bad at baseball. But he's not. Like when we're talking about that, if we're talking about that kind of package, the kind of player we're talking about getting is an Isaac Paredes, right? Like a guy who, this guy is just an absolute unit. So among AL third basemen since 2023, so the last 2 years basically, he leads all of them in WRC plus. Every single one, not even AL, all third basemen. So AL, NL, all qualified third basemen. 137 WRC plus. He's hit 46 home runs. I know some people have concern about how the power is going to translate to Yankee Stadium, but expected home runs thinks that he would have the same amount of home runs there as he does in Tampa Bay. This dude mashes, man. And Alex, we were talking about this a little bit in our last episode where, like, at the end we found out about that Paredes report from Martino. Dude, I mean, could you imagine? Like, you have like a Paredes, Soto, Judge, Rice, Stanton, Dominguez. Like, come on, man.
That's a stupid lineup, man. I mean, that's the kind you could put Paredes at leadoff and say, hey, buddy,
fourth, whatever.
Yeah, and look, so a lot of people will say he's a pull ball to left field type of guy, as a righty. And I get that, but in his power isn't like people will post the savant and say, well, he has no power. Guys, like, does it really matter? Like, he's getting on base at a 36% clip. He's hitting 261. He's a 138 WRC plus, and he has 15 homers. He had 31 homers last year, and 50 RBIs already this season. He has almost a 12% walk rate and a 17% strikeout rate. Like, I don't give a shit what his freaking savant says. This is a great player.
I also think it's intentionally misleading when people do the whole look at his savant page because, like, for example, expected WOBA, right? X-WOBA. It doesn't take into account whether you pull the ball in the air or not. And nobody pulls fly balls more than Isaac Paredes. So pulling the ball in the air creates more distance when you hit the ball in the air. It goes further than the average fly ball at that exit velocity would. So yeah, miss me with his exit velocity is this, his barrel rate is this. You're looking at numbers that don't take into account the single best trait he has, which is pulled fly ball rates. And everything else is plus. He's an excellent swing decision maker. 89th percentile in zone contact. What does that mean? That means that pitches in the zone, he's usually making contact when he swings. And he's aggressive in zone. There's a reason he doesn't strike out a lot. There's a reason he walks a lot. Another part of it, too, and we saw this in the series we played against him, Alex, teams don't want to pitch to him. How many times did you see like Nestor or Stroman or Rodon just throw 4 uncompetitive pitches and go, we'll go get the next guy? Because when you give him one pitch to hit, just one pitch to hit, he puts it in the seats. He's a mistake hitter. He crushes mistakes. And when you have to face him, Soto, and Judge in consecutive, you're going to have to face 3 hitters where if you miss once, just once, the scoreboard's going to change. It doesn't matter if maybe it's 1 run, maybe it's 2, maybe it's a 3-run blast. You're not going to be able to pitch around Paredes. I mean, Alex, imagine trying to pitch around Paredes when Soto is up next, and then you're pitching to Soto. You've got Paredes at first, and Judge is on deck. The best hitter on planet Earth is on deck, staring right at you, giving you the creeps. You got Rice behind him. You've got Stanton potentially behind him. Maybe you get Dominguez back, and he can be behind him as well. You've got just so many guys you can mash, and that deepens your lineup significantly. Paredes is the superstar move. I got flack on this for saying this on Twitter. That big package you're gonna have to trade for Crochet, dude, I'd rather do it for Paredes. And I love Crochet. I think he's a great starting pitcher. But I think right now, Alex, I mean, come on, like, who's the better? It's 25-year-old Isaac Paredes at 3.5 more years of control, or Garrett Crochet. I might have to trade a little less and get Paredes. Like, I need a third baseman. We need a third baseman. A long-term answer there. Your core and your infield's Paredes, Volpe, Rice, and you just got to find a second baseman. Maybe that's Vivas. Like, dude, I can rock with that in my infield for the next half decade. Like, yes, I would do this in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I mean, one of them plays every day and the other plays once a week, right? Like, that's, Garrett Crochet's pitch. He's a great pitcher, don't get me wrong, and I love him. Would love to have him on the Yankees, but this infield is a liability, my friends. Not only is it, sometimes spotty defensively with Gleyber Torres over there at second base, like, closing his eyes half the time he's trying to throw. But then Paredes is a solid defensive player, but like you said, the control is super, super valuable. It's so attractive. But having a bat, like, we talked about Jazz and how pitchers would have to pitch to him and be aggressive with him, because if you're hitting ahead of Soto and Judge, they need to get an out. You cannot put a guy like Jazz who's in the 98th percentile in base running value. You can't put him on base, because the second he's on base, he's getting to second. And then you got Soto who walks at more of a high rate than he strikes out. And then you got Judge, who's a monster when it comes to his, extra base hits and home run hitting qualities. So, this is a situation where the Yankees, okay, I'd say the number one need for the Yankees right now is leadoff. That's my take. The number one need for the Yankees is their leadoff hitter, because Volpe's numbers are plummeting. He can't be the leadoff if his on-base percentage is hovering around 30%. They need a guy at 34+% OBP, and a guy that can, collect hits, get on base, and do the basics well. He doesn't have to be a crazy power hitter, but Paredes is a solid power hitter. Not even just crazy, but he's solid. I mean, he hit 31 homers last year, guys. Like, this is no spring chicken. This is a good damn player in most respects. With that being said, you think about what that means for the Yankees batting order, the top half when you get Stanton back. And by the way, as I keep saying, freaking John Birdie, man. I miss that guy for some reason. But you don't need him if you get Paredes. He's playing third. He's not in the hot corner. John Birdie's now your kind of key utility piece along with DJ LeMahieu. Maybe the Yankees would even put DJ at second base if Gleyber Torres was still struggling, and maybe they wanted to do something like that. But I think if you get Paredes, they probably just keep Gleyber Torres the rest of the year, hope he bounces back. DJ LeMahieu becomes your everyday utility man, and Ben Rice is your first baseman, and we'll see what happens when Rizzo comes back as well there. Maybe they try to play the hot hand, see who's playing better type of situation. Volpe's obviously not being moved. But at this rate, why not? Now, let's talk about another Ray who could be interesting, Brandon Lowe. Now, Lowe is a 30-year-old lefty, and the guy pulls the ball too. He loves to pull that ball to right field. The short right portion of Yankee Stadium, Brandon Lowe would absolutely dominate it. Now, talking about his statistics and his injury history, he's only played 49 games this year. He does get injured a lot. He only played 109 last season. So this is a guy who's going to miss time. He's hitting 248 this year, 341 OBP, 478 slugging, has 9 homers and 27 RBIs. 134 WRC plus, and defensively, he's fine at second base. He's not great, not bad. He has a perfect fielding percentage, over 271 innings this year. Has -1 defensive run save, but overall, he's okay. He's serviceable at 4 outs above average and -5 DRS last season. What are your thoughts on Brandon Lowe? I don't think that the Yankees will go for him because of the injury history, but is that someone that you'd be interested in despite that?
I'm all in on him despite that. Dude, he mashes, right? Like, look, I get it. You're taking a risk. And I'm not saying that there's no risk involved. I'm not saying this couldn't be a disaster. But the guy mashes, dude. He hits the ball hard. He gets the ball out to right field. That's super attractive for a hitter that you're talking about bringing to New York. And on top of all of this, man, I mean, he's under control for the next 2 seasons, and it's 2 club options at $10 million. So, we're talking about a guy who 93rd percentile in Seager, that's plate discipline, 78th percentile in pulled fly ball rate. He's extremely good at hitting the ball hard. He gets the ball in the air often. Alex, I just think this guy can mash, and I think this guy, you put him, I think you could clean him up. He has a 134 WRC plus this year. You hit him clean up, man. You have him pulling those balls to right field the way he can. He's super aggressive in zone, and this is the part of him I really like. He swings a ton in the zone, and that's going to play very well hitting fourth because teams are going to go after guys that aren't Judge. Like, they're going to go. How many times has Verdugo been attacked in zone, right? And you're like, he can't handle it. He can't get that pitch. Lowe would come in and he'd hit fourth. Can I live with Ben Rice as my leadoff hitter? The way he hits in the leadoff spot, man, his numbers in the leadoff spot are unbelievable. He's kind of like the anti-Volpe. Whenever you move him out of the leadoff spot, he can't hit, but you put him in the leadoff spot. I'm getting his exact numbers here for you guys. At the leadoff spot this season, Ben Rice has a 219 WRC plus. He's slugging 893. So, I'm just saying. I'm just pointing out. I think he gets a lot of pitches to hit up there. He has 6 home runs in 6 games there. So, you know what I mean? Like, I think I'm keeping him there. And if you have a low hitting cleanup, you have him behind Judge. You still have the lefty-righty. You still have the lefty-righty-lefty thing going on. 2, 3, 4. Then you go righty with Stain, 5. You've got 4 guys. You've got 5 guys in a row who I think have 20 to 30 home run power at the very minimum. Judge obviously has 60. I mean, he can hit 60 home runs in a season. That's an unbelievable top 5. Like, that top 5 has all the punch, the home run power, the whatever you want to call it that you could possibly need. And I think Lowe would cost a lot less than Paredes, so it wouldn't stop you from pulling off another big move. Like, could you get Lowe and then get 2 big relievers? I think you could. I think you very well could. But yeah, I don't know, Alex. I'm going to war for my guy Brandon Lowe, and also his nickname, it's the dog. Like, come on, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just saying, it would fit perfectly. I also don't want to face this guy anymore. So, there's that. And that works with Paredes, too. I really don't want to face them anymore. So, an opportunity to no longer have to face them. And just putting this out there, if Paredes is going to get traded and it's not the Yankees, can it be like an NL West team? Like, I never want to see this guy hit again. Like, for the rest of my life, I never want to see this fucking guy hit against the Yankees. Like, go play in Chicago or some shit, man. Don't for the Cubs, not the White Sox. Like, I want to see you once a year and that's it. Like, this guy is a thorn in our side. I'm gonna be so happy if he gets traded and it's not an AL team.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think that if the Yankees walked away, and I think that Brian Cashman is going to be aggressive, Paredes obviously would be the ideal scenario. Lowe would be fun, would be a great hitter for this team. You have to deal with the injuries, and hopefully he's healthy for the playoffs. But that means you move Gleyber Torres most likely for pennies on the dollar because he's an expiring contract and he's just not good this year. But with that being said, if there's a bullpen arm, I think that the Yankees are going to get Tanner Scott. I think they need a really good lefty relief pitcher. And I think Miami, look, he's a rental. They could extend him. They could take the Tommy Kahnle money, roll it over to a guy like Tanner Scott. I mean, it might be a little bit more expensive than that, but I'm willing to pay it. I'm willing to pay one guy, right? Clay Holmes is gone. They need a guy that's going to be able to close games in the future. Tanner Scott is a stud. And that lefty kind of power arm, I do like him a lot. I think that he would be a good fit on this team. The Yankees do not have a really good lefty anymore. Of course, Wandy Peralta was that guy. And now, he's no longer here. So Chapman was that guy, and he kind of fell off a cliff. So I do think that Tanner Scott would be a really good solution. Maybe the cliff was a little steeper than it was more of a cliff, not a hill.
Chapman's tattoo artist. Remember the tattoo artist? The guy gets a tattoo and gets an infection in the middle of the summer.
Dude just disappeared. He didn't even show up. The Yankees are in the playoffs, and the guy doesn't show up to the playoff game.
Dude, I remember I was moving up to Binghamton, and then I check my phone, like we're moving things upstairs, and I'm like, Chapman's going on the IL because he got an infection from his tattoo artist. He got a tattoo infection. Like, dude, it feels like every year there's just like some incredibly stupid off-field shit that goes on with this team where you're just like, sure.
What?
I wonder, now, I don't know if you saw the Nestor tweet, right? Like the tweet.
Yes.
I want to know how that ages. Like, we're going to remember that tweet in one of two ways, depending on how the season goes. Like, if we get knocked out in the first round, that's going to be the funniest fucking tweet in the world. Not for good reasons. But if we win the World Series, I'm putting it out here now. Nestor Cortez is an American hero if we win the World Series after that. He may be a little inspired after recent American events. We'll see. But, nah, dude. I can't. Chapman was such a disaster. The bullpen, I will say, has gotten better. Tim Hill's been good.
It's been better.
Jake Cousins.
You can't trust them, though.
Right, I get that.
You can't trust Tim Hill in a high-leverage playoff situation. You know what I mean?
Look, Tim Hill's dealing. I don't know. Like, he might be up there. He might be. No, but seriously,
right now,
I trust Tim. He's a middle.
I trust Tim more than Clay right now. I'll tell you that.
Dude, that game that's still the most brutal. Like, that is the one loss, like, I can tell you for sure I crashed out over. It's crazy it happened twice to the Yankees in the span of 3 years. In 21, they get walked off and blow a big lead to not sweep the Astros entering the deadline, and they did it again in 24. So just I was upset about that loss, but the Orioles, when I genuinely crashed out, like, I was
that was bad.
That
right, going into the All-Star break, we could have taken a lead in the AL East, like that one.
And I could have been able to say that Jake Cousins, got out of a situation where a leadoff triple, and then he gets out of it because Kirk Cousins' cousin, by the way, which that's just a thing. But the bullpen, they need a big time guy. Like, Tanner Scott can close out games. Like, they need a lefty who's a big time guy. I think they figured out the middle inning depth. That's kind of where the Tim Hills and the Jake Cousins. Is Michael Tonkin legit though? Like, I think Tonkin might be legit. I actually like the same.
I like Tonkin. They figured him out. They figured him out, I think.
Yeah. They're that's a little like that. I think Tonkin might be a dude. But they need like that. They need another big time lefty, like a dude who comes in 30. Like, I need him to strike out 30% of batters. It doesn't even have to be a lefty, in my opinion. It could be someone who can get lefties out, like somebody who's a righty who's really good against lefties. But, like, just a dude who's going to come in here and strike out 30% of batters' face. Like, I want swings and misses, Alex. I want a guy who can punch tickets. I don't like this, like, pitch to contact nonsense. I want contact nonsense. Just like with the Yankee lineup. Like, I don't want a guy who's going to come in and, like, slap the ball around the field and hope that he can get on base. Like, nah, dude, I want a guy who, like, his first swing in the Bronx is going to be a ball 450 fucking feet to right field. Like, that's what I want. You know what I mean? I don't care about the whole, fun station to station baseball. Nah, man. I want to go. You know how sick it is to hit game-breaking home runs? Like, the Ben Rice home run was
sick.
It was a different. It was a new level experience. When Soto puts a ball 3 rows deep into right field, it's a different experience. When Stanton gets a hold
hear me out.
Oh my God! Right, like, it changes the environment.
Hear me out. This is what I'm thinking. Mm-hmm. If you go all out, right? If you go all out for Paredes. You now have a lineup that looks, and look, okay, I'm going to make one thing very clear, guys. If Alex Verdugo is hitting in the top 5 of this lineup when the playoffs roll around, we are cooked. Okay, we are cooked. Put me in the freaking pan and put some olive oil in there and cook my shit up, because we are absolutely fried if Alex Verdugo is hitting anywhere in the top 5 in this lineup, because he cannot be a guy that you lean on in high leverage moments anymore. He has a 90 WRC plus. His numbers are falling off a cliff. Listen, can he turn it around? Absolutely. Is he one of the best defenders in left field? And I want to make it evident. He absolutely is. He's a valuable defensive player. But if he continues to hit at this rate, when Jason Dominguez comes back from injury, if he comes back in time, they should be giving him reps in left field to see if he can hit offensively, right? Or at least giving him some DH opportunities to see if there's any value there. If he gets hot, you may want to opt for the defense over the offense over the defense. The defense is going to be margin. Like, how much worse could he possibly be at defense where it's going to impact you at the level of Alex Verdugo's lack of offense lately, right? Verdugo is a number 7 or 8 hitter on this team right now. If you walked into the playoffs with Isaac Paredes at leadoff, Juan Soto batting second, Aaron Judge batting third, you could say, who do you want batting fourth? You could say, let's say Stanton's batting fourth. You have
Dominguez,
at 5,
you got Rice, you got so many options.
At 5, you have Ben Rice batting fifth. At 6, you have Dominguez. At 7, you have, I don't know, Gleyber Torres. At 8, you have Anthony Volpe. And then at 9, you have, I don't know, who's the last guy.
You go like 8 Wells, 9 Volpe.
I freaking forgot about Austin Wells. Yeah. Austin Wells is probably hitting 6 or 7 in that lineup. If he's hitting 8 or 9, that's a luxury. If you walk in the playoffs with those top 4 guys, Paredes, Soto, Judge, Stanton, you can win a championship. You can win a chip, but if you are not going to walk into the postseason with a guy like that leading off, we are cooked. If Alex Verdugo is hitting fourth or leadoff, by the time that we enter the postseason, this team is not making it very far. And that's my take right now, because he's just not good enough. He's not good enough to get on base at the clip that we need him to. He does not hit for power. For a guy that needs to be leveraging the short right portion of Yankee Stadium, he can't get the ball over the fence. You know what I mean? Like, he's not good enough in the power departments. I imagine you agree with that statement, because I don't think that he could be anywhere near the top 5 of this lineup.
No, he can't. He doesn't hit the ball nearly hard enough. He doesn't get the ball in the air. He doesn't do the things that you need a cleanup hitter to do. I really do genuinely believe that the Yankees need to have more depth in who can hit for power on this team, right? Like, it's 2 guys right now, and there's 3 guys. Rice is the 3rd guy. Wells, okay, 4, right? But, like, Wells is just coming around. I would say, like, you need more depth in your power, right? And if you have praise, I mean, you have 5 guys, 6 guys to open your lineup. You know, hits Wells 7th, let's say. Dude, you got the first 7 guys in your lineup with one swing to completely change a baseball game. And that's
all it takes in the playoffs.
When you face good pitching, right? Yep. When you face good pitching, 1 3-run home run can win you a World Series, right? Like, you need to be able to hit those big home runs. When you look at the 90s, how many of their biggest moments? It's the Jim Leyritz 3-run home run in 96. It's, it's the Tino Martinez grand slams. It's Jeter's walk-off home run in 01, right? I know they didn't go on to win that World Series, but that's still an iconic moment in Yankee history. Tino Martinez in 98, game 1, grand slam. That's how you know what I mean? That's how you change a series. That's in the ALCS. Exactly, momentum. Think of, like, this is still a game played by people, right? Can you imagine being, let's say, Ryan Mountcastle, and you're at first base, and you see Isaac Paredes, or not, I guess you'd say third baseman, let's say Westberg, and you see Isaac Paredes, and you see the ball hit, you see it up in the air, and you know that ball's going out, and there's nothing you can do.
And it's the 9th inning.
Right, and he's at 3-run home run, or not even the 9th inning, let's say the 6th or 7th inning, you're up 1 run, you serve a 3-run bomb in the postseason. That is a pit in your stomach. You are getting punched in the mouth. The Yankees punched yours in the mouth, and then how did that feel to blow that lead against Baltimore? It was debilitating. How do you think it felt for the players? I'm sure the players were. Verdugo was spiking his hat in the dugout, in clubhouse. I'm sure he wasn't happy with himself. It's debilitating. You want to crumble a team, you want to crush a team, you want to kill their spirits, you've got to be able to hit the long ball 1 through 9. Not 2 through 4, not 2 through 5, 1 through 9. That isn't saying all 9 guys strike out 30% of the time. I'm saying everyone in that lineup needs to be, at some capacity, capable of doing damage, because that's how you win in the World Series.
Yeah, and I'll add another layer to that, too. If you have a guy like Paredes leading off, right, and you're a pitcher, you talk about Westberg watching that ball fly over his head. Think about if you're a pitcher and Paredes is working the count, and it's a 10-pitch at bat, and it's the 7th inning, and maybe you're a new bullpen arm, or you're a pitcher, a starter, you're in your last inning, you're about to get knocked out of this game, and 10 pitches deep, and Paredes gets a walk because that's how good of a hitter he is, and he gets on base. And now you're exhausted, and now you just battled and you lost that battle. Iwano is coming up to bat, one of the best hitters in the last generation of baseball. In this generation, in Juan Soto. And now Juan Soto, who walks more than he strikes out, is taking pitches, 7, 8 pitches deep. I'm trying to get out of this inning. Iwano is after that. Aaron Judge, the best hitter on the planet. The Yankees, the problem with the Yankees is that their leadoff situation has been so volatile. Look, I love Ben Rice, but I do not trust him yet to be a primary leadoff man in the postseason against elite pitching. That's unfortunately how I feel. And I think that's a very fair take, by the way. I think
he can earn it, but
he can earn it.
I understand what you're saying.
It's too new.
I would be fine with him leading off, only because I think the leadoff situation for the Yankees is a lot more unique than other teams, because Soto and Judge creates a situation where the leadoff hitter can't be looking to walk, because they're not getting 4 pitches out of the zone. I don't think they're getting 4 pitches out of the zone. I think they're getting everything in zone. Right. And for Rice, who's a very good mistake hitter, it's just an easier assignment for him. The part I'm more concerned about is the cleanup spot. Because how many times do the Orioles in that final game, Soto and Judge are on, or one of Soto and Judge were on? I mean,
Give me Wells, man. Give me Wells and lead off.
Somebody, I'm just saying, cleanup spot is where I see a Paredes, a Brandon Lowe, that's that's where they make the impact. Because either A, they shuffle a guy to the cleanup spot that's a little more helpful for you, or B, they are the cleanup hitter. They need to drive in Judge and Soto. The two guys who have higher on bases than Soto and Judge, right? Like, those are the two guys who are going to get on base more than anybody else on this planet. If nobody else is getting on base more than them, why aren't they scoring? Why aren't they scoring more often? It's because of the cleanup hitter, right?
Right.
Judge and Soto are 1 and 2 in OBP. 1 and 2. So you need a guy behind them who can get them in. I think Stanton is capable, but I do fear that a team will bring in a power righty and just kind of neutralize Stanton and Judge. But if you get a power lefty, like, this is why I have such a big appeal. Wow, that could have gone a lot of wrong ways. If I really have to think of the word I was going to use there. There's such a great appeal for me for a guy like Brandon Lowe because he profiles very well for that cleanup spot. Because I know when he comes up and I got the two best OBP threats in baseball in front of him, he's going to drive them in. Or if it's Isak Paredes, I know he's going to drive them in. You need a run producer. You need your guy who's going to mop up RBI opportunities. He's going to mop that up. That's what the Yankees need to target because their two best on-base guys are Soto and Judge. They need that cleanup hitter. They need it. They need to target that guy.
And I'm cool if you get your leadoff man, someone who's gonna make damage contact, you know, collect walks, you eat pitches, work a pitcher before they have to face two of the best pitchers on earth, or two of the best batters on earth. And then you got a guy like Austin Wells who's surging right now. That lefty bat. He doesn't hit like a ton of ground balls. He elevates the ball. He's hitting home runs. He makes damage. You could even put Ben Rice in cleanup and just ask him to clean up, you know, those pitches because they're gonna have to pitch to you. If you have Judge and Soto on base, or let's say you have the bases juiced, you have to pitch to whoever's hitting cleanup, right? The Yankees have an embarrassment of riches when it comes to where their choices are. The one player, and I'm going to say this again for the 100th time, I think everyone agrees with me here, the one player who cannot bat leadoff anymore is Alex Verdugo. Why this man bats leadoff is beyond me. Austin Wells should be hitting leadoff every freaking day. Every day. The fact that he's not is bewildering. Verdugo is a 7-8 hitter on this team right now. He has earned that role because of how volatile and inefficient he's been over the last month and a half. So that's kind of, you know, my take on the matter. We've discussed Paredes. We've discussed Brandon Lowe. This team is going to make moves. I think they're going to go for a guy that doubles as a leadoff hitter / infielder. Like, they're going to be one of the same. I think they're going to make a move for a bullpen arm. If they can't get the one that they really want at the right price, I think they go for two guys. I think they can elevate into prominent roles like they did with Clay Holmes a couple years back, Joely Rodriguez, guys like, you know, Wandy, guys like Ian Hamilton, like guys they see value they can turn into. We are getting reinforcements back. Clark Schmidt, Cody Poteet, Hamilton, Scott F. Ross. This team is getting like players that kind of double as acquisitions. But we're not getting anyone that's going to make a big difference in the infield back, except for John Birdie, who I love, but I don't think we can trust him to stay healthy anymore. So that is a problem there.
I also want to throw one take out there. I've seen way too many people in on Yandy Diaz. I think Yandy Diaz is a good hitter. He cannot play third base. Do not say Yandy Diaz is your third base acquisition. Folks, negative 30 defensive runs saved. Negative 17 outs above average during his career.
So bad.
That man, that is like throwing Andujar at third. And I'm not saying this to say Yandy Diaz, if maybe you don't believe in Ben Rice, which again, everyone's allowed to have their opinion on the Yankees first base situation. If you would like to get Yandy Diaz to be your leadoff hitter and play first base, that's your prerogative. That's your call. Would I agree? Maybe not so. But again, everyone's allowed to have their opinion. Cannot play third base, dude. I don't want to see anyone floating, well, he played this many games at third. Shit, man. I mean, dude, Glaber played how many games at shortstop? You want to throw Glaber at shortstop? You know,
Please,
screw
God,
it.
no.
Let's try Juan Soto in center field. Like, you know, I know that people don't care about defense, but, Alex, we care about defense. We care about it enough to say that guy cannot play third base.
Yeah.
I think we could play third base in a similar clip right now. We might be able to. Like, I'm not insulting Diaz. I'm just saying. Guy can't play third. Do everything else. Cannot play third base, though. Please, nobody suggest him as third base. It's not going to happen.
Yeah. Look, there's like competent level of bad, and then there's so bad that it's malpractice. This is malpractice version of bad. This is not like, okay, he's not the best, but can survive and not make too much of a bad impact. This is like he's going to screw you. Like, he's going to hurt you. He's going to lose you games because of how bad he is at defense. So, yeah, the Yankees cannot sustain that.
Neither could the Knicks, I guess. I guess the Knicks
could.
Could Yandy Diaz...
You put Yankees at point guard, you're cooked, man.
Do you think the Yankees should the Yankees just trade Judge, like, or just like let Judge go play for the Knicks for a little, maybe get some center depth?
We need a center, man.
He's only the thing is he's 6'7". He's not even taller than Julius.
Right?
Randle.
Isn't that crazy? Like Judge is a massive human being, but it would be a small center in the NBA.
Hey man,
more of a
look,
power
Giants
forward.
too. If they need some tight end help because their veteran tight end decided he likes putting out awful music.
He likes getting hit by waves, laying down,
Dude,
getting hit by waves more.
Would you rather listen to Darren Waller's music or watch Yandy Diaz play third base?
I mean, that's like Russian roulette.
Comment section.
Lose
Answer the
way.
question. Darren
lose
Waller's
either
music
way,
career,
man.
At least Yandy Diaz can hit. I would say
Either your ears hurt, or your eyes hurt in this situation.
At least Diaz can hit, right? He can hit. He could swing the bat.
Waller can catch though. Waller can catch when his hamstring is not cooked.
He did also all-time fumble. I mean, what an all-time fumble on his end. All-time fumble.
Yeah, oh my
he's an
goodness.
all-time
fumbler.
Yeah, all-time fumbler, dude.
How did you pull?
Good God.
Yeah, man.
Not even talking about football. We're not even talking about football. He's just, if you know, you know. He's an all-time fumbler.
He fumbles in life. Fumbles in the studio. Not good.
We really covered a wide range. We went from Isak Paredes to Darren Waller. I think if you're a Yankee fan, you're really getting the in-depth, the you know what I mean. You're
this is what we do all day.
Exactly.
All we do all day is talk about New York sports and just ridiculousness on every team that we cover. So yeah, you're getting a little insight into how our brains work. But yeah, this is Look, this is a situation that, in my opinion, for the Yankees, if they walk away with not enough, they're going to lose. They're not going to make it to the World Series.
And I also put this out here, too. Tampa Bay selling could legitimately save the deadline outlook for the Yankees. Because if you remove Paredes and Lau off the infield board, if Lau and Paredes are moved and they don't get one of the two, they better find the best goddamn second or third baseman that I've never heard of. Because there are two guys right there who have years of control after this year that you cannot whiff on both. You can't whiff on both. You can miss on one, cannot miss on both.
Would you give up Spencer Jones for Paredes at this point?
I would do that, and I wouldn't even think twice. Everyone's like, oh, well, what if Spencer Jones figures it out in Tampa Bay? Yeah, and he comes up at 25 or 26 and dominates? Cool. But if I have my goddamn 2024 ring, do you think I'm going to care?
Also, we still have Dominguez, Judge, and Soto.
Yeah, it's like, I mean,
that bad.
Like, I don't understand what's infected the Yankee fans. Like, dude, I remember, like, anytime we talk about Skubal and it's like, I wouldn't trade Jones for Skubal. Like, get out of here, man. You would trade. I love Spencer Jones. It's not like you and I don't like Spencer Jones.
Yeah,
we love Jones. We love him more. Look at how many people go say, oh, this guy's just going to be a boss. All he does is strike out. Like, I have faith he can turn things around at the minor league level. Yeah. You and I don't overreact on that stuff. But we also understand that winning a World Series, the ring,
paramount.
It's why you play the game. You play to win. Why would we play to win? It's like that iconic speech. It's like, we play to win the game. We play.
Jones
to win the
is
World
not going to win us a World Series this year, and he's not going to win us a World Series next year with the problems that he has right now. It's going to take a couple more years for him to get out of this strikeout, like whiff rate kind of situation. And he's not even in AAA yet. I do think that right now, if the Yankees want to win a World Series within the next 2 years, Spencer Jones is one of their biggest assets. And listen, Ryan, this is a situation, this gives me very similar feelings to Oswald Peraza. Why? Because the Yankees waited for Oswald Peraza to turn things around. It never happened, and now his value is zero. If Spencer Jones doesn't turn things around and they nuke his value and don't leverage it when he's at the peak of his value, we're going to look back on this and be like, why did we not do what we needed to do? I also want to point this out. I mean? There's another road where this doesn't go the way that we think it does with Spencer Jones, and we have to acknowledge that. Yeah, I also want to point this out. In 22, the Yankees really did try to shop Peraza, and nobody was taking him. So it tells you too. Look, we can sit here and talk about like prospects. This guy's part of the future. This guy's not. But we don't know what the private perception is. Could you imagine telling somebody in 2022 that offering Oswald Peraza for like Frankie Montas, like that wouldn't work because the A's don't even want the guy? Like I mean, they really did offer Peraza in 22. I don't know about 21, but in 22 they did, and teams didn't really want him. So I'm just pointing this out here now. Guys you think suck or are really good as prospects aren't as good or are not as bad or liked more in the industry because they have access to stuff you and I don't have access to or anybody has access to in terms of minor league data. I know there are a lot of puff pieces coming out now about the Yankees farm system, like it's trending in the wrong direction. Teams are going to really want to trade with them. I can speak on the fact that I think teams. I will say this isn't like a hunch. This is I can tell you with some confidence.
the private perception of the Yankees farm system is still pretty strong. The private perception of, looking at the data and what they bring to the table, like, they're not concerned that Will Warren has a 6-something ERA. His stuff is good. The ABS fucks up everybody with
a
the breaking ball.
2.95 ERA.
Yeah, and the ABS messes up everybody with a breaking ball. Like, that thing is, it's brutal for guys with a good breaker. I promise you that there are guys on the farm system that the numbers aren't great right now, but teams still really covet because progression is not linear. Struggles are important. So just putting that out there.
Yeah, and I'll throw this in there too. It's not the Yankees' fault if we trade away players and other teams ruin them. You know what I mean? It's not.
They get better. If Spencer Jones finds it in Tampa Bay, and
Ezekiel
the Yankees
Duran is a perfect example,
right? Like, or Josh Smith with the Rangers. I know Duran kind of hasn't got off the great start this year, but last year was really good, and this year Josh Smith has been great. Look, if you're the Yankees, you can't be caught up in what a player could be. If Spencer Jones figures out his hit tool, he'll be a star. I'm aware of this. I'm more than aware of this. But if he doesn't, then he's not going to help you. But I know that if Isak Paredes is on the New York Yankees are going to score 1 billion runs a game. They're going to score so many runs. I know if Tariq Skubal is getting the ball in Game 2, and Garrett Cole's getting the ball in Game 1, and Luis Seal's getting the ball in Game 3, that the opposing offense is going to score 3 combined runs in those games off of my starters. I don't know about the bullpen, but off the starters. I know that if Tanner Scott is on the New York Yankees, good luck, because I'm telling you, with that bullpen, if you can rearrange it to have, in the 7th, 8th, and 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th innings, you go Weaver for 2, Holmes for 1, and Scott for 1, that you will lock teams down, that you will put yourself in a position where when you have a lead, nobody wants to face your bullpen. That's the kind of team you build, and yes, it costs you trading players who have upside. I've talked up a lot of these guys, but you know what? I'm more than ready to trade them for those kinds of players, those stars, those guys who, the banners hang forever, man. And the only thing the Yankees are missing over the last 15 years, how many times have they been good? They've developed a homegrown MVP Hall of Famer and Judge. They've been to playoffs a million times. They've rebuilt. They've built up good farms. The one thing that eludes them over the last 15 years is a World Series title. Everything Brian Cashman has done over the last 10 years immediately gets vindicated by World Series. Would you care that they didn't, they didn't sign Corey Seager if they won the World Series this year? I won't give a shit, because you got Juan Soto. I just prioritize the ring. That's really where I'm at.
Yep, I agree with you. But guys, definitely dove into a lot of different topics. 36-minute episode. Hope you guys enjoyed every second of it. We had a lot of good, dialogue and monologue. But also just, we wanted to give you guys, a lot of people in the comment section were asking us to do more leave the mics on and just chit chat. So I think we did a lot of that. I think it took us in a lot of different directions. So I hope you guys enjoyed this new kind of style of episode we're trying to bring to you. But as always, make sure to drop your comments down in the YouTube comment section. Make sure to like and subscribe as always. And we'll catch you guys on the next Fireside Yankees episode.
Perfect.